There are games that show no mercy, where every step is a struggle and every mistake makes you want to throw your controller out the window. They test all your limits, demanding skill, patience, and above all, persistence. And when victory finally comes, the sense of reward is something unique, something only such a challenge can provide. Get ready to face games that will make you question your sanity while leaving you with a smile of accomplishment on your face. If you're ready for the toughest challenges, these titles are for you. I'm Jax, and if you're new here, welcome to the Play Hunters channel. Here, I bring you daily content so you won't miss any detail from the gaming world. And if you could subscribe to help me grow, I'd be really happy. From one gamer to another. Kicking off the list, we have one of the most iconic franchises in the hack and slash genre, known both for its stylish combat and unforgiving difficulty. Devil May Cry doesn't go easy on those who choose to enter this world of swords, guns, and demons. The game doesn't forgive mistakes, and if you're not quick enough, the enemies will turn you into dust before you know it. Each game in the series brings its own dose of challenge, from the surgical precision required in the early titles to the brutal bosses in the more recent entries. With epic battles, memorable characters, and a combat system that demands real skill, Devil May Cry defines what a difficult and addictive game it is. Next up, we have Lies of P, which takes the classic Pinocchio story and transforms it into a gothic nightmare set in a dark city. With an aesthetic reminiscent of Bloodborne, it brings meticulous combat, brutal bosses, and an atmosphere of industrial decay, but adds its own identity with a system of lies that affects the narrative and the fate of the characters. The detailed world tells stories through its abandoned settings, while figures inspired by the original tale appear in twisted and sinister forms, reinforcing the tragic tone of the journey. Combat is one of its greatest triumphs, requiring precision and aggressiveness. Perfect parries, calculated dodges, and a modular weapon system allow for mixing blades and handles to create unique combinations. The protagonist's mechanical arm adds versatility, acting as a hook, shield, or cannon. The bosses are memorable and challenging, but they follow a predictable multi-phase pattern, making some battles tiresome after repeated attempts. Still, each confrontation brings intense dramatic weight, making every victory extremely satisfying. Even without the complexity of interconnected maps, Lies of P compensates with a more engaging narrative than usual for the genre. The dilemma of whether to tell the truth or lie influences the story and can lead to different endings. Despite occasional difficulty spikes and a more linear world, it stands out as one of the best recent Souls-likes, offering a rich universe and sharp combat. For those missing Bloodborne, this distorted adventure could be as close as we get to a spiritual sequel. In third place, we have Black Myth Wukong, a game that challenges even the most skilled players with its intense challenges and demanding combat. Inspired by Chinese mythology, it takes you to a richly detailed world, where every location is filled with secrets and dangers. The journey of the Destined is not just a quest for relics, but a true test of endurance, where each enemy is a formidable obstacle, and every battle requires complete mastery of the mechanics. The combat system stands out for its complexity and precision, rewarding quick reflexes and well-calculated strategies. With a wide variety of abilities, special attacks, and powerful transformations, each confrontation becomes a test of skill and adaptation. The bosses, in particular, are a spectacle in themselves, with unpredictable patterns and devastating blows that challenge even the most experienced players. The need to study every move and find the best approach makes each victory even more rewarding. The journey never loses its pace, with new challenges emerging constantly, requiring full mastery of the mechanics. The fights aren't just obstacles, they're a central part of the game's charm, providing epic and intense combat that becomes unforgettable. Each advance brings the feeling of overcoming, solidifying this title as one of the most challenging and rewarding in the genre. In fourth place, we have Dante's Inferno, one of the many games that emerged in the wake of God of War but managed to stand out with its unique identity. Inspired by the classic poem The Divine Comedy, it takes you to a visually disturbing, an artistically unique hell. Its brutal and frenetic gameplay may remind you of the God of War saga, but the engaging narrative and the design of the settings and creatures, based on the 7 deadly sins, create an entirely different and memorable adventure. The fast and violent combat keeps the adrenaline high, requiring sharp reflexes and mastery of the skills acquired throughout the journey. The variety of enemies, many of which are inspired by grotesque punishments described in the poem, challenges the player to constantly adapt, creating tense and unpredictable fights. The moral choices system, where you can punish or absolve condemned souls, adds an extra layer of depth and strategy to the game. Each circle of hell brings unique challenges and stunning visuals, ensuring that progression never feels repetitive. With ingenious level design and an oppressive environment, the journey becomes a true trial, both for the characters and for the players. By leveraging mechanics that already worked well and giving them new context, this hellish adventure stands as a unique journey within the hack-and-slash genre. In 5th place, we have Ninja Gaiden Master Collection, a package that brings back one of the most brutal and challenging series in the hack-and-slash genre. If you love extreme difficulty and fast-paced combat that demands surgical precision, this is your chance to test your patience and skill. Every strike must be calculated, every dodge must be made at the right time, and any mistake can be punished mercilessly. The enemies here don't mess around, whether facing armed soldiers, giant demons, or other ninjas as agile as you. Each confrontation is a true test of reflexes. The AI gives you no rest, and mastering each weapon and skill is essential for survival. The bosses are a spectacle in themselves, with electrifying battles that require strategy and nerves of steel to defeat. If you're looking for something that takes it easy on you, don't bother playing. But if you're after a game that will challenge every move you make and make you want to quit, this collection is perfect. With fast combat, a deep combo system, and level design that throws you straight into the action with no frills, this is one of the most intense experiences you'll find in the world of gaming. In 6th place, we have Cuphead, a game that proves you don't need explicit violence to offer an absurd challenge. Inspired by 1930s cartoons, it puts you in control of two brothers who made a terrible deal and now must face gigantic bosses to pay off their debt. Despite its visual charm, this is not a game for the faint of heart. Every victory is earned with sweat, patience, and many frustrating attempts. But when you finally defeat that boss that seemed impossible, the sense of reward is incomparable. If you're looking for a brutal challenge wrapped in a unique aesthetic, this masterpiece is waiting for you. In 7th place, we have Elden Ring, a game that redefines how open worlds should be explored. Every step in this devastated realm is an opportunity to get lost in haunting landscapes, face relentless creatures, and uncover secrets hidden beneath forgotten ruins. The freedom is absolute. You can follow the traditional path, challenge enemies far beyond your level, or simply wander and strengthen yourself before confronting the horrors lurking around every corner. Combat is a true test of skill, requiring patience, strategy, and mastery of the mechanics. The variety of enemies makes each encounter unique, from imposing knights with precise strikes to grotesque creatures attacking in unpredictable ways. Every fight turns into a deadly puzzle, where reading the opponent's movements and choosing the right attacks, dodges, and spells can determine victory or defeat. The world is a spectacle in itself, combining impressive art direction with a melancholic atmosphere full of mysteries. Massive castles, haunted forests, poisonous swamps, and ruined cities form a setting that seems to tell stories on its own. There are no arrows on the map or obvious indicators, just your curiosity guiding each discovery. The feeling of venturing into this vast and hostile universe makes every victory hard-earned, and every new area visited a reward for your determination. In 8th place, we have Nioh 2, a game that takes the Souls-like genre to a new level with its technical combat, impressive depth, and relentless challenges. Every encounter demands complete mastery of the mechanics, from the stance system to the new Yokai abilities, which add even more variety and strategy to the already complex arsenal of attacks. The precision required to execute strikes, dodge at the right moment, and respond to each enemy movement makes every victory earned with sweat and dedication. The enemies are a force to be reckoned with, requiring quick pattern recognition and well-thought-out strategies. Every wrong move could mean defeat, especially against the brutal bosses, which push your reflexes and endurance to the limit. The burst counter system, which lets you interrupt devastating attacks at the right moment, adds a risk and reward element that makes combat even more exciting. The game is a visual feast, with settings inspired by feudal Japan filled with haunting details and grotesque demonic creatures that seem straight out of a nightmare. The dark ambience and intense soundtrack create an immersive atmosphere, making each new area a blend of fascination and danger. Every battle, every discovery, and every small victory is part of a journey that not only challenges you but rewards you like few games can. Next we have Hyper Light Drifter, a game that captures the essence of classic action with a modern twist and a mesmerizing aesthetic. Its vibrant pixel art creates a sci-fi universe full of mystery, where every visual and auditory detail contributes to an immersive atmosphere. Without relying on dialogues or explanatory text, the narrative unfolds in an abstract way, leaving room for interpretation and deepening the sense of wandering through a world in ruins. The combat is a delicate balance between quick sword attacks, strategic gunfire, and a dash mechanic that adds speed and fluidity to the battles. Each ability can be upgraded, allowing you to chain attacks or reflect projectiles with your blade, but none of it is mandatory, just an advantage for those who want to master the system. The challenge is real, especially against the most relentless bosses, requiring sharp reflexes and a deep understanding of the mechanics to come out victorious. The journey through the neon-colored world is marked by well-hidden secrets, hidden paths, and a constant feeling that there's something larger behind every fragment of the story. The rewards for the most attentive players are valuable, whether in the form of upgrades or clues about the enigmatic plot. All of this makes each new area explored bring a sense of discovery, making the gameplay as intriguing as it is challenging. In 10th place, we have Ghostrunner, a game that puts you in the shoes of an incredibly agile cyber assassin, where every strike and movement must be calculated with millimeter precision. Everything happens at high speed, from wall running to lethal katana slashes, creating a frenetic pace that demands quick reflexes and split-second decisions. The challenge is brutal, as a single mistake can mean death, but the immediate respawn mechanic and well-placed checkpoints ensure frustration never gets in the way of trying again. The variety of enemies and obstacles keeps the gameplay fresh, forcing constant adaptations in the way each battle is approached. It's not enough to rush into attack, you must study the enemy patterns, choose the best route, and execute your strategy to perfection. The environments are designed to encourage different approaches, and the freedom in how each combat encounter can be faced makes every victory feel earned. To complement this intensity, a special abilities system offers strategic advantages, such as a devastating move that takes out multiple enemies at once or a dash that reflects projectiles, giving the player tools to dominate the action with even more style. The cyberpunk aesthetic impresses, with a dystopian city illuminated by neon lights and a pulsating electronic soundtrack that amplifies the adrenaline of each confrontation. The game never stops challenging you, and total mastery of the mechanics becomes almost a requirement to progress. For those looking for a game that tests skill and precision to the extreme, this journey is a true proving ground for reflexes and patience. Continuing, we have Sekiro, a game that redefines challenging combat by abandoning the traditional stamina bar and focusing on breaking the enemy's posture. Every duel requires quick reflexes, pattern reading, and almost surgical precision in counterattacks. Mastering the sword means understanding the rhythm of the fights, blocking strikes at the exact moment, and standing firm against brutal enemies who relentlessly pressure you. This system turns each battle into a true test of skill, where only the most persistent advance. Beyond impeccable combat, The game stands out for its vertical level design, allowing for stealthy approaches and free movement with the grappling hook. Unlike other titles from the developer, here you can explore rooftops, ambush enemies, and even avoid direct confrontations. This freedom completely changes the progression dynamic and offers more control over the challenges. But don't be fooled even with the ability to strike from the shadows. Bosses and mini-bosses are true fortresses that demand complete mastery of the parry mechanics and precise attacks to be defeated. The setting, inspired by feudal Japan and mixed with supernatural elements, is a spectacle in itself. Each region presents a unique visual, from fog-covered forests to cursed temples, always filled with secrets for those willing to explore. The soundtrack accompanies the tension of the battles and the beauty of the peaceful moments, creating an immersive and unforgettable journey. A game that challenges but rewards every small victory with an unparalleled sense of achievement. In 12th place, we have Spelunky 2, a sequel that takes everything that made the first game special and elevates it to a new level. The procedural design continues to shine, offering unpredictable challenges in each playthrough, while the refined gameplay provides precise control, essential for dealing with the countless dangers scattered across the environment. The addition of new areas, mechanics, and secrets makes each attempt unique, reinforcing that sense of discovery and constant learning that makes the experience so rewarding. The game's structure expanded smartly, allowing players to choose different routes and paths, which directly influences the journey. This, combined with the enhanced physics system, makes every decision important, as a simple mistake can trigger an unexpected chain reaction. All this while preserving the spirit of the original game, keeping the difficulty sharp and the need for constant adaptation, making Spelunky to a game that not only respects its predecessor, but surpasses it in almost every aspect. If challenging yourself, learning, and improving with each attempt is something that attracts you, this lunar journey will surely keep you hooked for a long time. In 13th place, we have Hollow Knight, a Metroidvania that stands out for the grandeur of its world and the way it encourages exploration. The environments are labyrinthine, full of secrets, and built with impressive attention to detail. Each area has its own identity, both visually and sonically, making every discovery even more striking. The dark atmosphere, combined with hand-drawn art and an engaging soundtrack, makes it easy to get lost not only in the underground paths, but also in the story of this decaying kingdom. The freedom to explore and choose your own path is one of the game's greatest strengths. From the start, there are various directions to take, each leading to new challenges, bosses, and abilities that change the way the world is traversed. With a combat system that demands precision and patience, facing enemies and learning their patterns becomes an essential part of the journey. The amount of optional content is impressive, with battles against secret bosses, hidden paths, and fragments of a deep story for those who want to go beyond the basics. It's the type of game that rewards curiosity and effort, making every new discovery a meaningful achievement. In 14th place, we have Sifu, a game that brings back the essence of classic beat-em-ups, but adds a unique progression system that makes it a brutal and rewarding experience. With every strike dealt, the precision of the animation and the impact of the fights make each confrontation intense and challenging. The big twist lies in the aging mechanic. Each death makes the character age, gaining more strength, but losing resilience, turning every attempt into a race against time. The depth of combat stands out not only for attacks and combos, but especially for the defense system, which demands precise reading of enemy patterns. Dodges, blocks, and parries are essential to maintain control of the fights, while the use of the environment and weapons scattered across the stages creates strategic possibilities in every encounter. The enemies don't let up, surrounding and attacking aggressively, forcing a methodical approach to survive. Each stage not only brings increasing challenges, but also shortcuts that reward persistence and learning. Even with the need to repeat sections to improve performance, mastering the combat system and the sense of progression make every new attempt a step closer to mastery. It not only tests reflexes and patience, but delivers one of the most refined experiences in the genre, raising the concept of beat-em-up to a new level. Let's talk about Returnal, an experience of frenetic and challenging action, combining bullet hell elements with an intense third-person roguelike. The game shines by offering fast, rewarding combat, an excellent weapon system, and an intriguing narrative that unfolds as you explore a mysterious planet. The dense, oppressive atmosphere recalls titles like Dead Space and Metroid Prime, while the refined gameplay keeps the studio's classic DNA alive, reminiscent of Resogun and Nex Machina. The standout feature of Returnal is how it challenges the player to improve their skills with every attempt, rewarding good choices and encouraging dynamic combat. The variety of weapons, enemies, and procedurally generated scenarios ensures that each cycle is unique, while the progression mechanics maintain a sense of evolution. The only major downside is the cycle length, which can take hours and lacks a saving option, making each session a marathon that demands commitment. The game shines as one of the best roguelikes of the generation, delivering a fascinating world to be unraveled. It's a challenging game, but its flawless gameplay and immersive atmosphere make it a memorable adventure. In 16th place, we have Celeste, which turns every jump into an act of precision, every mistake into learning, and every inch into a small triumph. The mechanics are simple at first glance: a jump, an air dash, and the ability to climb walls for a limited time. But the way these elements interact creates challenges that demand absolute control. Small variations in button timing or the direction of a jump can mean the difference between success and failure. The levels constantly change, introducing new mechanics that expand the possibilities. Platforms that move at a touch, gusts of wind that affect your trajectory, crystals that restore the dash midair, everything fits together smoothly, constantly increasing complexity without losing clarity. Checkpoints are generous, and the quick response to commands keeps the pace intense, making every obstacle a problem to be solved with skill and patience. The narrative intertwines with this arduous climb. Amid well-written dialogue and expressive characters, there is a strong subtext about facing limitations, both physical and mental. The mountain is not just a setting, it reflects the protagonist, her insecurities, and the need to keep moving forward, despite the falls. Celeste not only offers impeccable platforming, but also a touching journey of self-discovery, making every victory, no matter how small, truly special. Next, we have Dead Cells, which combines speed, sharp combat, and a rewarding trial-and-error loop to create one of the most dynamic and satisfying roguelikes ever made. Each new attempt is a unique mix of challenges and opportunities, with procedurally generated levels offering multiple paths, hidden secrets, and a variety of weapons and abilities to discover. The frantic pace is maintained thanks to a flawless movement system that encourages precise dodges and aggressive attacks, making every encounter intense and satisfying. Progression brilliantly balances risk and reward. With every death, everything resets, but new powers, weapons, and permanent shortcuts are unlocked, creating a constant sense of advancement. Strategic decisions during each run, whether to invest in speed and damage or focus on survival and map control, add depth and encourage experimentation. Small details like enemies adapting to your playstyle, items that drastically change combat approaches, ensure that no attempt is ever exactly the same. In addition to the main campaign, modes like the Daily Challenge and skill mutations further extend the game's longevity. The detailed visual design, pulsating soundtrack, and level design that rewards exploration make the journey exciting even after dozens of hours. Dead Cells masters the art of fluid combat and roguelike progression, ensuring that every new attempt is as electrifying as the first. In 18th place, we have Wo Long, set in a chaotic period where war and supernatural forces shape the fate of China. The game takes intense action combat to a new level, blending speed and strategy in fierce confrontations. At the heart of everything is a deflection system that demands absolute precision. The balance between risk and reward becomes even more evident with the spirit gauge, which both powers devastating abilities and punishes excesses. Each battle challenges your ability to read the opponent and requires constant adaptation, making victories incredibly satisfying. Progression is marked by a moral system, a mechanic that reinforces the feeling of growth throughout the missions and gives real weight to each enemy defeated. What keeps the immersion is the setting and the weight of the journey, with environments that reflect the decay of an era on the brink of collapse. Ruined castles, temples overtaken by chaos, and war-torn fields covered in corpses create an impressive backdrop, complementing the dark tone of the adventure. Even without a memorable story, it compensates with a charged atmosphere and combat that turns each battle into a brutal spectacle. In 19th place, we have Fury Unleashed, which brings electrifying action within the pages of an interactive comic book, combining intense combat and fluid movement into a visually unique experience. Each level is structured like comic panels, filled with enemies, traps, and creative weapons that keep the gameplay dynamic. Progression happens through 4 editions, each with its own style and challenges, culminating in battles against colossal bosses that elevate the adrenaline. The gameplay encourages quick attack sequences and strategic movement, rewarding those who master the flow of combat. The variety of weapons adds even more dynamism, allowing creative and powerful combinations for each playstyle. Boss fights demand attention and strategy, bringing epic moments into the adventure. The level design stands out for its creativity, always presenting something new to explore and overcome. With a vibrant aesthetic and addictive gameplay, it delivers an engaging experience from start to finish. The combination of intense action and the visual storytelling of comics creates a unique game where every new attempt brings a sense of discovery and evolution. Next, we have Katana ZERO, an action and platform game that blends frenetic combat, engaging storytelling, and an impeccable neon war aesthetic. Each level unfolds like a deadly puzzle, where skill and reaction time are essential for survival. The protagonist, an unnamed samurai, moves through environments full of armed enemies, using his katana to deflect bullets, eliminate targets with precision, and manipulate time to reverse fatal mistakes. This mechanic turns every encounter into a choreographed spectacle, where the slightest hesitation can mean the difference between victory and starting over. The narrative unfolds in a fragmented way, slowly revealing the secrets surrounding the protagonist's past and the conspiracy he's involved in. The game not only challenges your combat skills, but also emotionally engages you, making the journey increasingly intriguing as new layers of the plot are unveiled. Katana ZERO is an intense and stylish adventure, combining action, narrative, and challenge in an exceptional way. In 21st place, we have Another Crab's Treasure, which takes an unexpected approach to the Souls-like genre, transporting the action to a vibrant underwater world full of personality. Playing as a little hermit crab, the journey starts simply recovering a stolen shell. As the adventure unfolds, what seemed like a trivial tale transforms into a saga filled with challenges, memorable encounters, and hilarious moments. The standout feature is the unique shell switching mechanic. Every object found at the bottom of the sea can serve as an improvised armor, granting different abilities and playstyles. From a soda can that allows ranged attacks to a tennis ball that turns you into a rolling threat, the creativity in designing this system shines with every new discovery. This concept, combined with the design of charismatic enemies and boss battles that range from comical to challenging, keeps the combat dynamic and surprising. The environments are full of charming details, with clever references and creatures that make this underwater world feel alive and fun to explore. Small puzzles and platforming challenges add variety to the pace of the journey, ensuring that each area brings something new. Even without the brutal difficulty typical of more traditional Souls-likes, its unique identity and well-thought-out mechanics make it an unforgettable challenge. And tell me in the comments, what was the last game that really tested your patience and almost made you quit? If you can, please subscribe to the channel to help me grow and never again wonder what to play. I'm leaving 2 videos in the card, one that I personally selected for you and another that YouTube chose. Just click on either one to watch. A big hug, happy gaming, and see you tomorrow!